The Banana Bunch. You know them, you love them. There's DK, Diddy Kong, and, the rest. These three members, Tiny, Lanky, and Chunky, do not receive nearly enough love. DK and Diddy are so much more known and loved, but these three always get the short end of the stick. What other games have they been in? And where are they now? I'm going to spend the time showing you where else these three lovable characters can be seen. Because over the years, I've discovered a few hidden gems that weren't as obvious to me for some reason. So let's dive in. Starting off with the Donkey Kong Country 2 and 3 remakes for the Game Boy Advance. Not sure how I missed these games since I was putting hours and hours into my SP. But anyways, in the second game, Tiny Kong can be rescued during Funky's flight missions. It's good to see you, old friend. She's spread across the level as multiple hostages, requiring the player to travel around with a helicopter, retrieve, and return to the helicopter pads. And as for the Donkey Kong Country 3 remake, there's another Funky Kong challenge titled Protect. Here, we see several Kongs that we've come to know and love, hey, including Tiny, Lanky, and Chunky. Glad to see the whole gang here. It's a neat minigame. The Kongs went for a relaxing swim, conveniently around Kremlin territory. And now these pesky Kremlins are attempting to kidnap them, so it's up to us to protect them. Shifting gears to a different era of gaming, Diddy Kong Racing DS, the remake of the Nintendo 64 title. Another game I've somehow never played. Maybe I was just content with the 64 version, or at this time my nose was buried in Pokemon and Animal Crossing. But this is the big reveal for Tiny Kong's new controversial design. And this is going to take some time to get used to. There's a lot of theories as to why Tiny got a redesign, but ultimately it seems like this was done to proportionately replace Banjo's slot, as well as Dixie to replace Conker. Still missing you, Rare. It's a real shame that we lost these two characters, but it's also great to see these two sisters in the same game, both as playable characters. Bittersweet, without a doubt. As we enter the Wii era, there's quite a few titles that should catch your attention. The 2007 racing game Donkey Kong Barrel Blast. I 1000% did not know this game existed, and probably for good reasons, but it seems to have quite the fanbase. Comments I've seen online swear by it being a fun racing game, but I'm not all that convinced. It seems Nintendo wanted a Donkey Kong racing game for the longest time, starting with the canceled GameCube game Donkey Kong Racing. A game meant to follow Diddy Kong Racing, but there's Tiny. But it seems like the game was canceled to focus on making a title for the upcoming Wii. There's quite a selection of Kongs and Kremlins, and it's refreshing to see Tiny Kong once more, and Lanky Kong in a more recent design. Lanky looks a little creepy these days. Not the same, no style, no grace, funny face kind of design. And for some reason, they did our boy Chunky dirty, as we still haven't seen him. But oh well, this game is locked away in the past. Another Wii game to feature a lost Kong, the 2008 Mario Super Sluggers. Once again, we're seeing Tiny Kong in her new design. How I miss her original small design. I've never once played any of the Mario baseball games, but it's cool to see such a wide variety of playable characters. Funky and Dixie Kong, K. Rool and Critters, Piatas and Nokis, every color variation of Toads, Yoshis, and Shy Guys. I don't know how he got baby Donkey Kong in this rotation. I mean, wouldn't it make more sense to have Kiddy Kong or DK Jr.? But after these few select games, that's about it. Tiny, Lanky, and Chunky can be seen as collectible trophies, stickers, or spirits throughout the Smash Bros. Series, starting with Brawl. And their names are mentioned through the DK Rap remix, starting with Melee. We were honestly blessed to see a handful of other Kongs featured in the Super Mario Bros. Movie. Besides the obvious DK and Cranky Kong, the characters we saw on screen for a few seconds were Diddy, Chunky, Dixie, Funky, and Kiddy Kong. I was especially thrilled to see Chunky Kong. We haven't seen him make an appearance in such a long time. Then again, it's somewhat less surprising since he never wants to get picked in the tag barrel. Perhaps he's been keeping it low for a while. But Donkey Kong as a series has taken a serious hit over the years. Since the Microsoft purchase of Rare in 2002, it truly feels like Nintendo has no idea what they want to do with the series. We've seen a mountain of spin-off games, some fun, some awful. And thankfully, we're seeing the Kongs in a more familiar and memorable setting, with Donkey Kong Country Returns and Tropical Freeze. But it's time for more Donkey Kong games, and more familiar faces. especially the Banana Bunch. Well, what are your thoughts on these couple of spin-off games? I haven't played most of them, so I'm curious to hear your thoughts. I sincerely hope we get to see more country games down the road, as well as another 3D World game to feature some of these Kongs that have been kept to the sideline. It's time to give them some attention. I just know they haven't forgotten about them. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.